Hi everyone, welcome along to Goodwood, and with the Qatar Goodwood Festival of 2021 just around the corner, This Racing Life is paying a visit to the local area to learn a little bit more about what makes this meeting quite so iconic. Here's what's coming up in the show.
It was such a nightmare year last year, and if we'd have had to go through that again, it would have just been sort of unthinkable, really.
You know, you can be eating food all produced from the farm, organically high quality produce, or if you go to the bar or have a drink with a meal, or if you're at a festival having a drink, you know that will be a high quality organic beer.
Every 2 minutes you're thinking of doing a press up or a leg lift or lifting weights or anything. You've just got to keep that level of fitness, keep riding and just be really ready and fit for that race.
Goodwood have had a long-standing, impressive record, if you like, of working with the local community on everything. For us to be kind of tapping into that and working with them is fantastic.
I still maintain the fact that she was 90% fit, so we were expecting her to run a good race. So running a good race doesn't necessarily mean winning.
After a difficult year in 2020, the team at Goodwood Racecourse are feeling upbeat ahead of the Qatar Goodwood Festival, as Managing Director Adam Waterworth explains.
Last year's Qatar Goodwood Festival especially, where it was all those moments, Stradivarius winning his fourth, Batash winning his fourth. The whole sort of Marcus Tregonning story on the Wednesday. I mean, it was just such a good week. The sun shone, the results were great, and there was no one here. And it was pretty soul-destroying, to be honest, by the end of the week. The obvious thing happened at late on in the week. There was a particular sort of kick in the teeth. But yeah, it was such a nightmare year last year. And if we'd have had to go through that again, it would have just been sort of unthinkable, really.
So I'm sure a lot of people will remember the Friday, presumably you got up, Friday of glorious Goodwood, with the anticipation, the expectation that Saturday was going to be one of these pilot scheme events, that you were going to be able to stage how many fans?
It was 5,000.
Right. And what happened?
Yeah, it was utterly bizarre. We got the call. I suppose we first got a heads up at a sort of, I'm trying to remember, 9 o'clock maybe in the morning. Yeah. There might be a problem here. So I remember phoning His Grace, phoning the Duke and saying we might have a problem here. He came down. We were sat in my office actually at the racecourse when it was one of those that then at 9:30 we were told, oh yeah, this isn't looking good. By 10 o'clock we were given the heads up, I think it's unlikely, and the official announcement was made by the Prime Minister at about 10:30. And so literally in the space of an hour and a half it went from having planned the pilot, the administration of 5,000 people sounds easy, but actually the administration you need to do in terms of getting everybody's names, in terms of how we had to allocate people, we had to build, it was about 8 different enclosures to adhere to the pilot rules. It was a massive amount of work in a relatively short space of time. And then to have that sort of whipped away literally the day before was, it was really gutting actually, really gutting for everyone. Park the money, the money, if you like, came later in terms of the fact that it cost us money. That wasn't the driving factor on the Friday a year ago. It was just seeing the look on people's faces when all the work they'd done and it was going to come to nothing. That was a horrible day actually, really bad day.
Obviously set against the bigger picture, and we know that, and subsequent events going on into the winter and further lockdowns, etc. We understand, but just for you in isolation, excuse the pun, but for you in Goodwood in isolation, did it take quite a bit of getting over for the team? Yeah,
it did. It did. The one thing about working in this game is at least you've always got something else coming up. So we had a bit of a drink on the Saturday night. It was because actually they pulled off a great show. It
was a brilliant week, wasn't it?
Oh, it was a great week. Great week. The results were great. It had a as good a feel as it could have. Yeah. I know. Everybody from your side of things was sort of saying what a great week they'd had. So it was a good week. So we did sort of, there was a moment, if you like, but that moment would have been so much better if we had the people in on the Saturday. But, you've got August Bank holiday to look forward to. Yeah. The second you have the sort of Sunday to yourself, and then the Monday you start thinking about the August Bank holiday and the celebration mile. So that's the thing about working in this game. There's always something coming up.
There's now that great feeling that Touchwood, the 19th, what that brings about, and Goodwood's situation in the calendar, as you said, 10 days later, that there's so much reason for optimism now, isn't there?
Oh, it's great. I mean, obviously when, what was it, 21st of June? Sort of, so that first date sort of came and went.
Freedom Day, yeah.
It was sort of, 19th of July. That sounds
Pretty
dangerously close to the last Tuesday of July. But then when literally sort of a week early, the Prime Minister made the statement that the 19th is going to happen. That helped. That lifted everybody's mood. And then the announcement on the Monday the week before, which was, yes, we are going to be back to normal in terms of capacities, was great news. I mean, we'd been working as if that would be the case, and so we'd been on sale and we'd been promoting it. But actually, there was uncertainty out there. I'm not sure any of us. I think we believed it, but I'm not sure. Speaking to some of our members and our racegoers, they were waiting definitely for that announcement to make sure it was definitely going to happen, and the sort of lifting of people's spirits, if you like, since that first announcement. All the customers we're speaking to, the regulars coming back, hotels suddenly being booked, has been great.
We're so looking forward to having capacity hospitality spaces, capacity restaurant spaces, loads of new food concessions. We're over the moon. It's going to be a good 5 days, and we're looking forward to it.
Is this going to feel that much more like Goodwood of old, what we get this year?
Completely. Certainly based on what we know at the moment. We know from government guidance there's certain restrictions around face masks and personal responsibility and things like that. But generally speaking, this will be the day that people want to make it, or the 5 days will be.
What are we looking at then for this year? What's on offer?
You're talking to me in our new premium space, the Charlton Hunt restaurant. It's a look back to the original Charlton Hunt at Goodwood back in the 17th century. We've got all the amazing hunting pictures on the walls. And this is our premium space. It starts at around £600 for one of the 5 days. And it's completely inclusive of your canapes on arrival to your sparkling wine and a 3 or 4 course meal. So we can go from that to street food in the Gordon enclosure. So we've got the full range. Hospitality starts at around £200 and goes up to about £700. It's all locally sourced food in terms of our farm produce on the 2,000-acre estate, pork, lamb, beef, and so forth.
I think it's almost like seen to be believed, if you see what I mean. Do you get that from people when they come here, the appreciation of the local product?
We do. Sometimes they already know, and that's why they're coming.
Yeah.
Other times they have a bit of an epiphany moment and realise that the food they're eating is literally from a mile down in one of the fields, etc. And I think it brings the whole thing together and creates that feeling that we call that kind of Goodwood feeling, the Goodwood experience.
Basically, it should feel like, Goodwood again. It should feel like the Qatar Goodwood Festival felt in 2019. I think the atmosphere will be better, won't it? I'm expecting that Tuesday will be quite special, actually.
I think it's the whole, you don't know how good it is until it's gone, and then suddenly we can celebrate it because it's back.
Massively so. I mean, we've just got off the back of the Festival of Speed here at Goodwood, which again we lost last year. It was a pilot scheme this year, so it was reduced capacities, 75% of normal capacity. It felt great. That feeling of people being back doing what they love. You could feel it, and you could see the people loving it and enjoying it. And I'm expecting that to be the same for us. For the start, as I say, on that Tuesday, I think it could be a great year. I think it could be a really, really memorable year.
Just down the road from Goodwood Racecourse is the Goodwood Farm Shop, and chances are plenty of the food and drink consumed across the 5-day festival is sourced very locally indeed.
All the fertility from the farm is derived within the farm system. So the crops we grow, like the barley to produce the beer or the grass to feed the cows, it's all grown organically, naturally on the farm. So the cows have a totally organic diet. So when we milk the cows, so then that milk's made into cheese, 3 types of cheeses, and then all different types of bottled milk we have, raw, skimmed, whole milk. We've got a whole range there of dairy products, so you can just go into the shop, pick up cream or whatever you want, yeah.
5 days of the Qatar Goodwood Festival. How much does the pressure grow then building up to that with all the consumables that will go on across the 5 days that come from here?
Yeah, so we'll be working throughout the year. We're working in advance to prepare for the festivals,
yeah,
and the racing. We know when we're harvesting, the barley So before the barley ends up as a bottle of beer, it has to be malted. And then it goes off to our brewery up in Polborough, which is not too far away. So
No.
it's all kept within this county. So we prepare a good sort of 3-4 months in advance because there's a large quantity of beer consumed at the festival, which is great for us.
I think we're about to consume some now.
Yeah.
What do we got? Talk us through it. Actually, go on. First and foremost, what are we going to try? If you were to go, you've got the lager, the pale ale, and the American pale ale. And obviously, the beer, the actual brewing here dates back to the 1700s.
That's right. Yeah, there's history of brewing here on the farm. They're all three different beers. I mean, my personal favourite is the St. Simon. The main ingredient in this one is our organic barley. So it's grown on the farm. We grow probably about 250 acres of barley a year. Spring barley. Well, let's try it and have a.
I think it'd be quite hard to stop at one.
I know.
Just one.
It is. This is it's light, but it's smooth and creamy. I always think. Yeah, a little bit of spice in there as well.
So this will do the race course. This will do the various events, the hotels. I mean, I've been privileged enough to go to the cricket match there on an evening, and this is is the kind of thing that's served out. So presumably Goodwood itself or March, everyone involved is quite proud of what they do.
Yes, yeah. They know that you can, whether you're coming to the farm shop and buying local produce produced on the organic estate, or if you're at one of the events or festivals, you can be eating food all produced from the farm, organically high quality produce, or if you go to the bar or have a drink with a meal, or if you're at a festival having a drink, that will be again a high quality organic beer.
You're going to have to get to the bottom of that in a minute, because St. Simon is being put aside for a minute's time. Looking forward to it. We've got a barrel of, what's this? This is actually what we're about to taste in a minute, isn't it? Which is sorry, I'm taking over, Paul.
No, that's
I'll enthusiasm. This is the grogger, which we've got about 80 pints worth of down there.
So I think we'll probably start with
the bottle.
Start on that one.
Go for it.
Yeah.
And talk us through the grogger.
So the grogger. So this is a pale ale.
Yeah.
So certainly going to have.
I'm absolutely demanding this. The glass has been put up.
Yeah, it's definitely going to have a different taste profile to the.
Does it matter that we're using this? It doesn't matter, does it?
No,
we're not. No. How much are you enjoying working here? You've only been here 6 months or so?
It's my dream job, to be honest. Yeah. It's something I've always been aiming for in my career, and to manage an organic farm this size and this high profile. Every day I feel proud coming to work.
Should we do the last one?
Yes, yeah.
What have we got?
So we're going for
the Lucky
Leap, and that's
American Pale Ale. Is this a new addition to or a newer addition?
A newer addition, another great story.
So how many of these are going to go throughout the week? Bottles, obviously on draft as well. What are we talking about? How many? Yeah. Is it difficult to put a finger on how many pints are going to be going?
Yeah, I think probably over the whole season it's got to be probably 1 million pints, doesn't it? It's got to be.
Yeah.
Going out there. Yeah. I mean. So from the farm shop, you can buy obviously the nice bottles, but kegs are the way the beer will be served throughout the festival. Yeah.
Well, the key thing is for someone that works in and around it, when you go to the races, obviously on a day off, do you drink this stuff? Do you drink?
Yes.
Well, there we are. Yeah, that's the sort of stamp of authenticity.
Yes. Yeah. No. And I was at the Festival of Speed last weekend, and I sought out my pint of St. Simon. That was my mission. Yeah.
It's not that, but from the Festival Speed, I mean, obviously the emphasis that gets placed on that, it's not that big a gap between that and then the Qatar Goodwood Festival.
No, not at all. No, there's no downtime. As one breaks down, the build for the next festival starts.
It's proper festival season, isn't it?
Yes, yeah.
Cheers to that.
Cheers, yeah.
Happy days.
Yes, this is nice. This one, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah.
I think they're all nice.
Yeah, this one's got a little citrusy.
We're tapping you up for a few more later, to be honest.
Definitely, yes, yeah.
The Magnolia Cup is the curtain raiser to the Thursday card at the Qatar Goodwood Festival. And who could forget Khadija Mellah's success 2 years ago, a moment which inspired one local resident to take up the reins.
When Khadija Mellah won the Magnolia Cup, I was very impressed by her and thought, my goodness, that's a fantastic achievement to do. And then I thought, well, maybe I could do something like that. Maybe I could. It's local. raises money for charity. It has an emphasis on women riders, women's charity. And I'm relatively fit, but could I possibly get really, really ultimately fit for a flat race?
So that's actually 2 years ago, but it's still quite a relatively recent inspiration. I mean, how did you sort of get the ball rolling thereafter?
I came to Goodwood. It was in the November 2019 to start with for the 2020 race. And I knocked on their door and said, what does it take to be in the race? I had to come about 3 times to find the right person to talk to, and I didn't want to just email them. I wanted to see, if they saw me in person. And I said I could ride. I really would love to be an inspiration to anybody in this world if you could achieve that level of fitness and attempt to win a flat race of 6 furlongs.
Are you one of those people that is, this is now all consuming? It's all about that Thursday, the last Thursday in July. Everything that you've got going on in your life is geared around this one day?
It has to be, totally. Morning, noon and night. It's absolutely seized you by the throat. You are, every 2 minutes you're thinking of doing a press up or a leg lift or lifting weights or anything. You've just got to keep that level of fitness, keep riding and just be really ready and fit for that race, fit for that day.
And have you got your trusty steed sorted for the day?
Not yet. We've got 2.5 weeks to go, but there are various sources, and hopefully I'm sure there'll be a horse to ride on the day for me.
Do you think it will be, because I mean, we're now getting back to the situation, there's going to be crowds. Obviously it's Ladies' Day at Goodwood, it's going to be a fantastic atmosphere. How will you thrive on that? Is that something you'll sort of relish or be a bit nervous, a bit of everything?
It'll be a bit of everything. I'm really, when you're on a horse, for me anyway, I'm just completely focused on that horse, because especially a thoroughbred, you never know what it's going to do. You can't be looking around at the crowds, or obviously there's the hum of everybody, but I'll be very, very focused on that horse and focusing on the race right from the very start, right from the moment I'm walking into that paddock.
Have you dreamt about crossing the line first?
Ever since, I've been reared on amazing fairy tales and wonderful films of, a little boy, 14, winning a race out of the blue, found a racehorse. I've always had that in me. So something unimaginable can really happen. Some completely ordinary person can actually turn their hand and actually maybe win a race. I've always dreamt about all that sort of thing. It's an extraordinary thing. Read all those crazy books that we all did, the children's books, and yes, it's just a dream. It's truly a dream.
A new link up for Goodwood is their partnership with Gusbourne, award-winning makers of English wines, and one of their stunning vineyards is just a few miles from the track.
We've been making wines here in West Sussex, along with our estate over in Kent for several years, going back to around the sort of 2012 mark. And for us, we've had a long-standing ambition to supply the Goodwood estate, so it's tremendously exciting for us to now be in a position to do so.
And how did that come about?
Some negotiation, but lots of conversations, but I think a mutual respect and understanding between Goodwood and Gusbourne in terms of what our brands mean to each other and how they interact and how that relationship could be formed.
And for context as well, just a few miles that way? We are talking locality-wise very, very close.
We are, exactly, yes. So we often refer to our estate here in Sussex as bordering the Goodwood estate, because literally just over the hill there on the other side of the downs is where the kind of the perimeter of the Goodwood estate kind of comes to an end and meets Gusbourne. So it's lovely to be effectively right next door. And
is there something, it's almost a symbiotic thing in that you would love to indulge and be working with the local area, and Goodwood love promoting the local area as well. And for that reason, I suppose it works quite well, doesn't it? Or should work quite well.
Yeah, exactly. It really does. I think Goodwood have had a long-standing kind of impressive record, if you like, of working with the local community on everything from kind of produce for their farm shops and kind of suppliers for their events and everything else that goes with it, and of course been an employer of lots of local people as well from the community. So for us to be kind of tapping into that and working with them is fantastic, and for us as a brand which is a few years behind in terms of history, it's nice to kind of align ourselves with someone like that who's got that kind of lovely, or made a lovely impression, if you like, on the local area.
Before we talk about the most important thing, the product, what's the setup going to be like for you and your team at Goodwood itself?
Yes, so we're We're thrilled to be an official partner of the Goodwood racecourse and the exclusive English sparkling wine which is served across the estate. So during Glorious Goodwood, the Qatar Goodwood Festival, we'll have a Gusbourne Pavilion, which is our bar which overlooks the parade ring. And the wines will also be served at all of the other outlets across the restaurants and the hospitality suites across the racecourse for the duration of the week's racing.
Why is this scenario, this climate, this soil underneath, why is this so suitable to produce such top wine?
It's several factors, but as you say, we're here in West Sussex, and we have a predominantly chalk-based soil here, which is very similar to the kind of the chalk-based soil which the Champenois make their wines from over in France. Over the last 10 or 20 years, with elements of climate change coming to fruition, we're seeing temperatures in this part of southern England which are commensurate with those from around about the 1970s in France. So whilst global warming isn't something, of course, that we celebrate, it is something which is enabling us to ripen fruit this side of the channel to a significant quality level to produce really good wines. For us, our story is all about our vineyards in West Sussex as well as our vineyards in Kent. So actually blending the fruit from two sides, from two particular sites, where the fruit has a very distinctive flavour, just enables our winemaking team to choose and select the best quality fruit and produce the best whole product, if you like, from the two sites.
So for people going to the Qatar Goodwood Festival, how would you describe what they're going to drink?
They're going to have a range of wines to choose from.
Yeah.
So we are serving our Blanc de Blanc, which is a 100% Chardonnay sparkling wine. We're also serving our Brut Reserve, which is a classic blend, if you like, of the three predominant grape varieties in the best traditionally made sparkling wine. So Pinot Noir, Pinot Meunier and Chardonnay. And also our sparkling rosé, which is again a blend of Chardonnay, Pinot Noir and Pinot Meunier. As a special treat for the Goodwood Festival, we're also serving our still Chardonnay as well, which is called Chardonnay Guinevere, which is 100% Chardonnay still wine, which is a fantastic product and something new to the range, if you like, and new to kind of maybe consumers of English wine.
And are these bottles, types, varieties, drinks that you feel fit with the landscape, the culture, the identity of Glorious Goodwood, if you will?
I think so, and I think they do too, which is why they've sort of selected us to work in partnership with them. But the wines that we produce, we're aiming to produce best-in-class English sparkling wines and some of the finest wines around the world. We're not just set on making wine here in this country. We want to make a mark and make some of the best wines that people drink everywhere. So we think that kind of focus on real rich premium quality matches up really beautifully with the Goodwood estate, and also the discerning customers which visit it and who will be no doubt enjoying hopefully the glorious weather and also the excellent racing as well in a week or so's time.
Well, that's almost the thing, because while it's obviously the local course, Goodwood, and we know what comes with Goodwood, but does where you sit as a company and horse racing sort of marry up at the same time, because you want to be that kind of drink that's enjoyed a day at the races?
I think so, and I think sparkling wine and champagne in particular have long been kind of regarded as the drinks to enjoy during a celebration, and lots of people who say they don't really drink wine no doubt do enjoy a glass of bubbles at a celebratory event, be it a birthday, be it a party, a wedding, and wonderful events like the racing. So I think that kind of type of product is something which is perfect for those kind of enjoyable moments, as well as celebrating potential wins and those sorts of things as well.
Less than half an hour's drive from Goodwood is the historic Coombe Stables, and without doubt the local star is the dual Group 1 winner Wonderful Tonight, a filly taking her trainer David Menuisier on the ultimate journey.
It's a fairy tale, isn't it? You know, because the filly was bought for not nothing, but not a lot, you know, for a racehorse, 40,000 euros. And we bought her because we felt that she was no risk. You know, she was by Le Havre, the dam was by Montjeu, the dam had produced a stakes horse already. So, you know, being a sister to a black type horse was enough to retain her value, had she won a maiden. So, yeah, when she won the maiden at 2, to me, I had done my job, kind of thing, and you couldn't really expect what was coming.
Last year, obviously, the Group 1 trip to France and then Champions Day, that left something to dream about over the winter. But I just get the For so many different reasons, not least her physical well-being, her fitness, going into Royal Ascot this year, I just get the feeling that that gave you so much satisfaction.
It did give us so much satisfaction because it wasn't really the plan. The plan was to go for the Grand Prix de Saint-Cloud first time out this year. And we always keep an eye on the weather, and she's entered in all those big races because when you're soft ground biased or quick ground biased, you have to keep an eye on the weather all the time.
Yep.
And make swift decisions. So when the weather started to change, we felt that the filly had done enough work to go and race. And obviously, if you can run an hour and a half down the road, it's better than going to France and on a long journey and what have you. So yeah, that's when the hard week started to come to mind. Literally a week before the race, you know, when we decided to confirm. And yeah, I still maintain the fact that she was 90% fit. So we were expecting her to run a good race, but running a good race doesn't necessarily mean winning.
What would you have been satisfied with?
A good run, a place, a fourth place would have been fine. I was expecting her, and that's exactly what I said to William. You know, just give her a nice race and what have you. Expect her to get tired in the last furlong.
Yeah.
And there's no pressure. No pressure whatsoever because it's the first run for 9 months. So just respect her, basically.
Kim, your partner, was just saying that she was in tears for an awful lot of that day. She was emotional. How were you about it?
Look, I was the same because at the furlong pole when she decided to quicken so strongly and put the race to bed, really. We live with the filly, so we know how good she is. But she completely exceeded expectations, and it was like watching the last furlong on slow motion, you know, with a nice tune in your head. Obviously not Nick Luck's podcast theme.
You're a keen listener.
But it was absolutely, yeah, it was magical, and you really feel on a cloud when it happens,
yeah.
Because we get so many disappointments with racing and racehorses generally, that when you have a moment when they take you right up there, you know, it is the most beautiful sport when it happens.
When it comes to the ground with Wonderful tonight, would you almost have to wait until, say, the Arc to want to risk her if it came up good? Do you see what I mean? Because I know that's the target with her. Would you try and avoid good ground where possible before the Arc?
Yeah, I think so. Look, the Arc could be her last race, you know, the last race of her career. So you would have to try. I think you would have to try on good ground, obviously. I mean, we have to bear something in mind. This filly, she's a lot stronger than she was last year. She has much more substance. Physically, she's really strengthened. She really dropped through her girth, and so she's a real stronger filly. And she might handle quicker ground better this year. But I would be inclined to not test her before the Arc, knowing for well that we will have to have 3 or 4 runs this season before the big race. Otherwise, she might just boil over and get too fresh in the morning. So we have to bear that in mind. But in an ideal world, I would prefer to avoid running on quicker than good this season.
Does she get spoilt? Or do they all get treated
as much as the others.
Yeah.
I mean, she's a character, and she's always been quite lively and what have you. So we had to sweeten her up a lot. And she is spoiled with polos and cuddles and what have you. But like, as much as any other horse, yeah, we tend to treat them all like they were ours.
Well, that's it, the Goodwood special, This Race in Life for this year. Thank you to everyone who made this week's edition possible. You can watch every single race from the Qatar Goodwood Festival of 2021 live on Racing TV. Thank you at home for watching, and we'll see you on the show very soon.